Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the gym. It is your captain, Lon Shay. Up next on the GM, Lamar Jackson must be traded. Do me a quick favor, hit like. If it is your first time checking out the gym, hit subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. Yeah, that's the sentiment right now. I've seen maybe hundreds of comments from Ravens fans that the Baltimore Ravens should just move on from Lamar Jackson. And I understand that Ravens Nation is upset, hurt, disappointed, frustrated, aggravated, and any other descriptive word that represents feelings can be applied. So am I. Okay? But I think that in some aspects, this is a way too far overreaction. But let me do something really quick. Let me address something really quick first. If, as a fan of the Ravens, or just a sports fan in general, or as a passerby because of the playoffs and championship games and Super Bowl, on the horizon, how about we just keep it decent and respectable? You see, whether he is your quarterback or not, whether he had a misperformance, an underperformance or not, he's still a person. I've seen some things be said that have come off of the football field and land in an area where it's now a personal attack. And here's a real truth. If sports, football specifically, if it makes you come off the field and start having personal attacks, then you may need to step away from sports because it's not that serious. Sports, football, NFL, Baltimore Ravens, it is not that serious to come off of the field and start making personal attacks. If you keep it on the field, cool. But when it comes off the field, you've gone too far. You are now out of bounds. Flag on the play. But let's get back to the trade of Lamar Jackson. Here's a question. What's your reasoning? What's your reasoning for trading Lamar Jackson? Right? Is he the best quarterback in the league? Probably not. Is he the best passer in the league? Probably not. Does he make all the right decisions all the time? Certainly not. But did we not know that in 2018 when they drafted him and there was an assessment that he should play wide receiver or he should play running back? Didn't we know that even in 2019 when he won the MVP and got bounced out of the playoffs? Didn't we know that in 2020 when Lamar Jackson won the first playoff game? Didn't we know that in 21 and 22 when he left the season early with injury and didn't return? Didn't we even know that in 2023 coming into this season that he was not a perfect quarterback? See, let me be very, very clear. This is not even a defense of Lamar Jackson. This is a conversation that is a call to be reasonable. To be reasonable. See, because the truth is, we've known all of those things. We knew he was not perfect. We know that we can sit back and pick out every flaw. We know that we can listen to all the sports syndications and listen to how they pick apart his game and what he did or did not do right, so on and so forth. We know that. And we knew that going into Sunday. And we even knew it more coming out of Sunday. So to leap off the building, so to speak, with all of these extraordinary requests to trade and all this, he's no good and all this stuff, man, what's the deal? What's the deal? You see, how come we just can't make a proper assessment that he didn't play well on Sunday? How come we can't make a proper assessment that the Ravens coaches didn't coach well on Sunday? How come we can't make a proper assessment that the game plan was trash on Sunday and keep it contextual to that? You see, the Ravens fan base does exactly what the ESPN and Fox shows do. They go to a historical context for a moment. You see, I understand that Lamar Jackson and this Ravens squad, not this Ravens team specifically, but throughout the history, I understand that they have showed up in the playoffs and not performed well. I understand that. I even understand that teams recognize that, you know what? Lamar doesn't operate at his maximum when you blitz it. We understand that. So to expect that things would just turn around in a moment Sunday is unreasonable. Let me also tell you what's unreasonable. What's unreasonable is for us to understand that as a fan base, because if we understand it, who also understands it? John Harbaugh, the offensive line, Todd Monken, they all understand that too. That teams understand that if I blitz Lamar Jackson, I can create some mistakes. I can create some disarray in his game. So the bigger of the questions is why haven't the organization taken an approach to offset the blitz? Now, unless they have, and we just don't know it, unless they have and it's not reported, but it looks like this offense responds to the blitz the exact same way. Here comes the blitz, and offensive linemen are looking back at Lamar to see what he's going to do. Here comes the blitz. Lamar starts backing up instead of going forward, stepping up in the pocket. Here comes the blitz. Doesn't look like there's a hot route. Whether it's we're screening running back or a tight end. Doesn't look like those things are happening. So I'm just asking to be reasonable and to keep it respectable. I understand it hurts because we put a lot of expectations into this team. We had a lot of expectations that this team would show up on Sunday, drop 35 points, win by 10, all those kind of things. But the truth of the matter is, it looked like the whole offense panicked for whatever the reason. For whatever the reason. But I'll tell you something also. Something about Sunday didn't make sense beyond coaching and beyond on-field performance. And I can't put my finger on it, but I will tell you this. There is a lot of commentary in Ravens fandom and outside of Ravens fandom, if you've seen it, that the fix was already in. Now, when I give takes, I'm not ignorant to what could or could not be happening. But I try to give my assessment based on purity of the game. And I understand there may never be purity in any game, football, basketball, baseball, so on and so forth. I understand that. But when I give a take, I can't give an assessment necessarily on what I can't prove. I can tell you what I think. But when I give an assessment, I give an assessment on information I can prove or what's happening in a moment. I don't always have to go back, and we shouldn't always go back to a historical approach to validate or invalidate Lamar Jackson. Because whether you like him, love him, or hate him as the Ravens quarterback, he's the quarterback. And whether you like him, love him, or hate him, he has made the Ravens a winner 6 out of 6 years when he's been under center. Yeah, we may not have won a Super Bowl, but imagine if it was the total opposite. Imagine if we were a team like the Jets over the last 6 years. Imagine if we had the record of the Carolina Panthers over the last 6 years. Imagine if we kept coming up small and short like the New Orleans Saints over the last years since Drew Brees. Imagine if we were the Cleveland Browns over the last few years. Imagine if you had questions, more questions than Ravens Nation has about Lamar Jackson. If you were the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're trying to figure out what Kenny Pickett is or isn't. See, imagine if that was the situation. Imagine if you was out in Indianapolis and you are basically on your third or fourth quarterback over the last few years. You see, there is a worse situation. There is a worse situation. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what happened on Sunday, Lamar and this team has been a winning organization. There are some barriers in his game. There are some barriers in our coaching staff. There are some barriers in our organizational approach. I won't take that from you. I won't deny that. But to just jump off the ledge and say, "Oh, we just need to trade him now." Okay, so you get 2 first round picks. I think somebody suggested that. The Baltimore Ravens had an opportunity to get 2 first round picks for him when they placed the exclusive franchise tag on it. If they thought there was a better situation out there with a rookie or with some picks, then they should have taken it, right? But you know what would have happened in Ravens Nation? We would have been complaining about that as well. We would have said, well, why you trade away your franchise quarterback? You see, because the truth is, of all the quarterbacks that were drafted this past year, CJ Stroud is an outlier. He came in as a pocket passer prorated. He's an outlier. But you see where they drafted him at? The number 2 seed, which means you had to be trash. You know why the Baltimore Ravens have not had a better than a top 15 pick in the Lamar Jackson era? Because we've been a winning franchise. And the only reason we had a top 15 pick was because Lamar Jackson had got hurt. And we were able to pick up Kyle Hamilton. There's a lot of things wrong with the Baltimore Ravens. But Lamar Jackson is just a small percentage. And I do mean small. I don't have to go down the laundry list of things that is wrong with this organization. I don't. We all know that. We all see it. And if we think that Lamar Jackson was the only thing wrong on Sunday with this team, then we've had our ears closed and our eyes closed for 6 years. Really for 10 years. And so I'm just this is just a call to Ravens Nation to let's keep it respectable. Let's not make it be personal. Let's not make it personal attacks. Okay? Let's not say he's not working off the field because then that becomes personal. See, because that's not on the field. That becomes personal. That's saying what he's doing off the field. Because the truth is, he has improved from 2018 to 2019. He has improved. Maybe not in ways that we think he should have improved. And then let's be clear about something. Let's be super, super clear about something. We have an advantage when viewing a game that the players on the field don't have. We have an advantage of being able to watch in our private homes with our 60, 70, 80-inch TVs. We have the luxury of pausing television, rewinding television. We have the opportunity of watching highlights and so on and so forth. But our highlights are a compilation of quite possibly 50 or 60 cameras that are recording the game. When a player is on the field, whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's a quarterback, whether it's a running back, they don't see uh, the action in review time. They see it in real time. So just because we saw a wide receiver open doesn't mean that they've seen it. Just because we saw a hole opened doesn't mean they saw a hole opened. Okay? So when we sit back and we make an assessment of what was and what wasn't, right? We got to remember that we're watching this thing from the advantage of having high definition, the ability to watch a replay, highlights, and things of that nature. Okay, so so I think that this loss was difficult. I know that this loss was difficult, but the fact of the matter is there was a lot of things wrong from Sunday. And what I'll be honest, if I had to give just a complete honest take, there was something wrong with Sunday beyond what we saw because nothing from Sunday made sense. Absolutely nothing. The defense stepped up. Mike McDonald made adjustments, and they did what they're supposed to do. But when you think about what I'm saying, but when you think about this thing from an offensive perspective, nothing looked like we had saw the last 8 to 9 games, including the divisional round of this season. Nothing. Nothing. There is nothing that we can make sense of about a game plan. There is nothing we can make sense of about not running the ball. There's nothing. There's nothing that we can make sense of why most of the routes were deep route combinations. See, something just didn't make sense. Something just didn't make sense. And so I'm not trying to persuade you to think anyway. I'm just saying something was off Sunday beyond what we recognize and what we understand. So if you want Lamar gone, that's totally your opinion. Absolutely your opinion. And you have a right to that. I'm not even trying to talk you out of that, in fact. I'm just saying, sometimes you have to appreciate the situation you're in because the situation you think is better may not be. My former pastor said one time, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, but it still has to be mowed. And so kind of put this thing in perspective, man. So if this Ravens season, Sunday's game, if it's pushing you over the edge, man, you're frustrated, stressed out, and you got some anger stuff going on, man, take a break, man. I got 2 more videos I think that are coming out this week, and I got one that'll come out next week. All of them will be pre-recorded because from Saturday through the 15th of February, I'm unplugging from all things sports as it pertains to the NFL. I don't even know if I'll watch the Super Bowl just because I do understand that I do still feel that frustration. And so let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with what we're saying, right? If you feel it, you feel it, okay? But if you lay all of this at the feet of Lamar Jackson, then you didn't really take an assessment of what happened on Sunday. Again, let me close with this. I know he's not perfect. He's not. He's not the best thrower. He's not always accurate. He's not always the best decision maker. Right? We understand all that. But if there was a perfect quarterback in the league, then why don't any quarterback go 100% in passing? You see, why don't any quarterback go a whole season without throwing an interception? Why don't any quarterback go a whole season without a fumble? You see what I'm saying? So if there's and even the great Patrick Mahomes, let's just tell the truth about it. Even the great Patrick Mahomes was not undefeated this year. He had interceptions this year. Um, he had some fumbles this year, right? So even he isn't perfect. So let's start putting Lamar in proper context. He's not perfect, so we can't expect perfection out of him, right? I mean, let's just be honest. And sometimes I think that that's what people expect is perfection. These players are flawed human beings who entertain us for a living. So be entertained. Be frustrated when your team loses, but be entertained and let's keep it moving. But let's keep it on the field. I'm your guy, Boulanger. We're out.